I seriously didn't know that things got this bad for this Rachel Zegler Snow White movie, but I'm reading this right now, and I'm worried about Rachel Zegler's career. I don't see how she comes back from.
Disney is under fire from all sides right now, and this time, it's way beyond just a minor controversy. It's a full-scale crisis. Across the nation, independent retailers are yanking anything related to Snow White off their shelves. Completely gone. And honestly, can you blame them? This mess isn't just about a classic fairy tale anymore. It's turned into a total public relations nightmare. So, how did we get here? Buckle up! Disney aimed to give Snow White a fresh, modern spin, but instead of breathing new life into the story, they basically torched the original and danced on the ashes. No dwarves, no magic, no fairy tale ending, just pure chaos. And right at the center of it all, Rachel Zegler. Yes, her once again. She's gone from Hollywood's rising talent to the face of Disney's downfall in record time. The way she's been carrying herself, it's almost like she believes the entire studio exists just for her to show up, deliver a few lines, spin in a gown, and collect her paycheck. And audiences aren't impressed. One fan even quipped that Rachel treats Disney like it's her personal fashion label. Show up, flaunt the dress, and vanish. Honestly, it's not that far from the truth.
There are empty theaters all around the country. We are now at a 1 out of 10 on IMDb for the new Snow White, and it couldn't happen to a better person.
If you think we're exaggerating, just wait. This saga is messier than a Real Housewives reunion, and the drama's still unfolding. Disney's been making questionable choices for a while now, but this might just top them all as their boldest misstep yet. The internet isn't holding back either. Fans are calling it tone-deaf, lazy, and flat-out disrespectful. For a company that built its legacy on magic and wonder, this is a terrible look. Honestly, Disney might need an entire brand makeover after this disaster, and we're only scratching the surface. Did they really believe no one would notice them burning through millions faster than you can say, once upon a time? Seriously, did they think fans were just going to look the other way? Let's rewind for a second. The original Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs wasn't just another animated film. It was the cornerstone of the Disney empire. Released in 1937, it's pure cinematic legend. This movie built the Magic Kingdom. Messing with it? That's like tampering with Grandma's legendary pie recipe. Change even one ingredient, and you've got a family feud that'll be remembered for decades. But did Disney seem to care? Not in the slightest. They greenlit a remake that's being dragged harder than a bad lip-sync performance on live television. Early test audiences didn't even call it a movie. They described it as a chaotic TikTok mashup suffering from an identity crisis. No heart, no soul, just a jumble of viral trends and clumsy edits. One viewer even joked it felt like it was directed by an algorithm.
She doesn't need a prince to save her, and not surrounded by 7 weird people. Oh, okay, just CGI fictional goblins, I guess.
Now, here's where things get truly wild. Instead of stepping back and admitting, all right, maybe we dropped the ball, Disney doubled down on the disaster. They kept pouring more money into this sinking ship. More PR stunts, more post-production tweaks, more desperate spin. It's like they really believed that sprinkling some sparkle over the mess would magically fix everything. Insiders say Disney was convinced their name alone was invincible. They thought slapping that iconic castle logo on anything would guarantee success. Spoiler, it didn't. Fans came in like digital snipers, targeting every flaw and blasting them all over the internet. The acting, called lifeless. The script, roasted to a crisp. The overall vibe, as one viral comment brutally put it, cringe with a dash of desperation. Turns out, this fairy tale wasn't armor-plated after all. It was riddled with holes, and the internet was more than happy to rip it apart. Now, let's get into the financial train wreck. Snow White 2025 is shaping up to be one of Disney's most epic flops ever. We're talking about a catastrophe so huge, you can practically hear the executives grinding their teeth in those sleek boardrooms. Every time a new box office prediction comes in, it's worse than the last. Early audiences have been seen stumbling out of almost empty theaters, looking shell-shocked, like they just endured an indie film directed by a mime having an existential crisis. Some even joked it felt like an art house fever dream, but in the most painful way possible.
Every time she speaks, she gets less likable.
She's now bragging about the success of Snow White, which is a movie that's going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars, and mainly because of her, and because nobody wanted to support her.
Then came the flood of IMDb reviews. And yikes, it was brutal. The movie's rating nosedived to a jaw-dropping 1.6 out of 10, like the entire internet joined forces just to set this film on fire. One review after another slammed the bizarre direction, saying even fans of so bad it's good cinema couldn't defend this disaster. Social media, absolutely swamped with posts claiming this is the clearest sign yet that Disney's magic wand might finally be running out of power. And the memes? Legendary. People are roasting the so-called woke dwarfs for ghosting the storyline, mocking the plot as if it was written during after-school detention, and comparing the visuals to something straight out of a Netflix horror filter. But it's not just the plot getting burned. The tone, the lighting, even the camera work is under fire. Everything about this film screams costly blunder. And if you were holding out hope that it might still turn things around, well, it's not looking promising. Fans are saying the storyline is such a chaotic mess. It feels like an over-caffeinated intern slapped together random scenes from 3 completely different movies. One moment, Snow White's belting out a pop hit like she's on The Voice, and the next, she's wandering through a dark, dystopian setting that looks like it came from a rejected sci-fi screenplay. The whole thing is just radiating identity crisis. And as for the charming prince, forget it. He's nowhere to be found. Instead, they've shoved in a clunky empowerment arc that feels as rushed and awkward as an uninvited celebrity cameo.
Controversy around the film began ever since we learned that there would be no Prince Charming because apparently he kissed her without consent, and also no woman needs a man to rescue her. The movie also used CGI for the 7 dwarfs rather than actors because they thought using real people would be offensive.
But you don't seemingly like your own character, so she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
The critics aren't pulling any punches either. They're saying this isn't even about celebrating strong female leads anymore. It's more like a blaring billboard of a message that crashes through the story like a runaway truck. And don't even get me started on that final dance sequence. It's a scene straight out of nowhere, with everyone drifting around in all-white outfits like they accidentally stumbled off the set of a bargain bin cult documentary. One moviegoer was overheard muttering, "That's 30 seconds of my life I'll never get back!" And honestly, he wasn't the only one feeling that way. By now, you'd think Disney would have figured out that messing too much with a beloved classic usually spells disaster, but clearly that lesson still hasn't sunk in.
Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
And if she hadn't have opened her mouth, I think that this movie might have done well. They might have just been able to ride on the hopium of the movie and some well-cut trailers, and people would have paid to go see it. And then it would have fallen off when people knew it was garbage.
I don't think they're going to buy it. I don't think they're going to watch it. I don't think they're going to like it.
But Rachel Zegler made it so hateable that you really sabotaged and took hundreds of millions of dollars from the studio. I don't know how anyone would ever want to go into business with her.
Well, here we are. It seems like no one bothered to send the memo about not wrecking a classic. And right at the center of this whole mess is Rachel Zegler, who the internet has basically crowned as the queen of controversy. Or maybe just queen of questionable takes. Grab your popcorn because Rachel has turned into a full-blown PR nightmare. Sure, she started off with some buzz thanks to a couple of musical roles, but when it comes to Snow White, her energy has been icier than a walk-in freezer. She flat-out dismissed the original as outdated and even threw some serious shade at the prince, saying he came across like a stalker. Like, seriously? And then there's that moment when she quipped, "I know you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different. It's more of a 2022 version," as if slapping a modern twist on it magically fixes everything. Because, yeah, nothing screams respecting a classic like publicly tearing it down while cashing Disney paychecks. But she didn't stop there. Rachel really turned up the heat when she said she should have been paid for every single hour she had to wear the Snow White dress. Fans were not having it. One outraged commenter snapped, "If you hate the role so much, why even take it?" And honestly, the whole internet seemed to agree. Her socials basically turned into a battlefield overnight. Critics slammed her for being arrogant, and Rachel, she fired right back, accusing them of being stuck in the past. Because, calling out your own audience is always a winning PR strategy, right?
Rachel is literally the star of a Disney movie, and she acts like she's some sort of victim. And that's the sort of mentality that is just poisoning people's minds. Like, she acts like her life is so bad.
There's a growing chorus claiming this whole backlash might be part of an organized takedown. But whether that's true or not, one thing's for sure. This casting has stirred up way more chaos than Disney ever saw coming. Plenty of people believe Rachel Zegler isn't being unfairly attacked. They're saying she's doing a fine job wrecking things all on her own. She's been out here, reposting fan praise like she's on a victory lap, while brushing off critics as nothing more than relics from the past. Seriously, if there were ever a live masterclass in how to torch your public image, Rachel's the one teaching it. No registration required, front row seats for everyone. Meanwhile, over at Disney HQ, you can almost picture the PR team huddled over the script, quietly begging, "Please make it stop," like they're trapped in a never-ending horror film in slow motion.
Yeah, we had more dwarfs than we did viewers in most of these theaters. And as you know, there were no dwarfs other than some CGI weird generated version of them.
You know the saying, go woke, get broke, and Disney's going to lose money on this movie. And I believe it only made less than $1 million in China.
Do you know, how hard it is to find an attractive young woman in Hollywood who can act and sing? It's not hard. Who just isn't going to offend half the country.
But the chaos doesn't stop with Rachel. The film itself? It's about as subtle as a sledgehammer when it comes to pushing its political agenda. Forget about gently weaving new themes into the classic tale. This feels like they cranked a fire hose full of social justice slogans and let it blast every frame. Every scene plays out like it was crafted by a dozen focus groups, each one shouting their ideas over the other. And somehow they managed the impossible. Both sides of the political aisle are tearing it apart. That's not just a flop, that's a gold medal disaster. Commentators are calling it preachy first, entertainment second, and the script reads like it was built off a checklist. Toss in empowerment. Cut the dwarfs, add a generous serving of moral speeches. Disney claims they're honoring Snow White's timeless courage, right? Because we all remember that iconic moment in the original where she interrupts her woodland friends to give them a modern-day lecture. If you were hoping the filmmakers had finally cracked the code on blending fairy tale charm with contemporary messages, prepare for disappointment. This one crashes harder than a firework that fizzles out mid-sky. Word is, things inside Disney headquarters are in absolute meltdown mode. Picture a flaming clown car spinning in endless circles. It's that level of disaster. Reports say retailers are scrambling to yank Snow White merch off the shelves, with some employees now calling the products toxic inventory. Ouch. Financially, it's a nightmare. The production budget soared past $250 million, and that's not even counting the marketing blitz, which mostly felt like an uphill battle to convince everyone this film was magical. Now, with ticket sales in freefall, the pressure's mounting on heavyweights like Bob Iger. Investors? Absolutely furious. Think furious troll under the bridge vibes, but without any of the charm. Behind the scenes, whispers say a few top execs are quietly polishing their resumes, just in case this bomb hits hard enough to shake up the entire leadership team.
This truly is the worst casting, maybe, in the history of the film industry.
Disney's Bob Iger says their mission is to entertain, not send messaging as Snow White sales compete for worst performing live-action Disney adaptation.
And speaking of rattled employees, insiders have started calling the whole fiasco Snow Wrong. And that's actually one of the nicer nicknames floating around. Word is there are far more brutal ones being whispered behind closed doors. Maybe, just maybe, they should have paid attention to those early test audiences, the ones practically begging Disney to pull the plug while they still had time. But hey, hindsight's always crystal clear, especially when it's reflecting off empty theater seats. Now let's zoom out for the big picture. The entire entertainment industry is watching this implosion like it's a 4th of July show. Sparks flying, smoke everywhere, and a few folks ducking for cover. Competing studios are straight up taking notes on how not to fumble a beloved franchise. Because if even Disney's crown jewel can go down in flames this badly, no one's untouchable. But this mess isn't just about Snow White anymore. It's ignited a much bigger debate, one that's been simmering for a while. People are finally asking the tough question: has Hollywood's obsession with remakes gone too far? No matter how flashy the CGI, it can't rescue a flimsy script. or an actress who seems more interested in throwing shade at the very fairy tale she's supposed to celebrate. Audiences aren't fools. They're fed up with lazy reboots, hollow nostalgia, and clunky messaging stuffed into every scene. And maybe, just maybe, this spectacular disaster will force studios to think twice before they bulldoze another childhood classic for the sake of social media hype. Because if there's a lesson in this Snow White remake, it's this. First, don't steamroll a fairy tale just to chase Twitter trends. And second, if you're Rachel Zegler, it might be time to rethink the whole mock the fans playbook, especially if you expect those same fans to show up at the theater. Spoiler alert, they won't. Not emotionally, not physically, and definitely not financially. From baffling creative choices to cringeworthy interviews and PR blunders that only made things worse, this whole saga might just go down as Disney's most expensive masterclass in what not to do.
I really do believe that. There's something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy. The reality is she's just not stable. Like the majority of people in Hollywood, they're just not stable human beings. I would highly advise that you boycott this film, no matter how much your children love Snow White.
The rumors are swirling. Last-minute edits, sudden marketing shifts, and even whispers about legal threats if the backlash doesn't die down soon. Hollywood is watching closely, with front-row seats to the chaos. Let's be honest though, the damage is already done. Disney's once untouchable crown has taken a hit, and the internet is here for every second of the fallout. Memes, breakdowns, and edits have turned this into a full-on roast. But don't think it's over yet. The drama's far from finished. Insiders are hinting at deleted scenes that were scrapped in a panic to calm the storm. And the legal rumors? They're circulating, with Disney's legal team on high alert in case things get even uglier. From where we stand, the storm's just getting started. It's the same old story. A massive studio gets too comfortable, misreads its audience, hands the lead too much freedom, and boom! You're left with a Hollywood disaster that will be the talk of the industry for years to come. Want all the juicy updates as soon as they drop? Hit that subscribe button, because new twists are likely to drop any minute. And let's face it, fairy tales don't always end with glitter and songs, especially when you throw in a star-studded cast, a script that's all over the place, and a marketing team in pure denial. Right now, Disney doesn't need a magic mirror. They need a wake-up call. Smash that like button and drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to know what you think, whether you're fuming, laughing, or just in shock that this movie even got made. The next twist might just outdo that cringeworthy all-white cult dance scene, if that's even possible. Let's see if Disney can pull off a miracle, or if this remake will go down like that sad, stale theme park churro no one wants to touch. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.